Hello, and welcome to today's episode of Future Leaders in Philadelphia. I'm your host, Derrick Sawyer. We bring you this show in order to highlight young people in our community, along with local organizations who are striving to make Philadelphia a better place to live. We focus on our next generation of leaders. On today's episode, we will be talking with Playworks, a nonprofit organization who is changing the culture of schools around the nation by putting an emphasis on safe, fun, and healthy recess play. They create a place for every kid on the playground to feel included, be active, and build viable social skills by partnering with districts and after-school programs. Currently, Playworks operates 21 programs in the Philadelphia area and is serving more than 1,300 schools nationwide. For our first segment, I will be talking to two program managers for the local branches of Playworks. Later in the program, I will be joined by two staff members who work in local schools. Joining me now are Corey O'Neill and Dave Klaus, former program coordinators who have both moved on to become program managers. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
So, tell me a little bit about how you became involved with Playworks.
Well, I could talk. I was in a lot of Habitat for Humanity, a lot of volunteer programs as a youngster and all throughout high school. And eventually, after college, moving back to Philadelphia, I wanted to continue to give back to my community. I had a lot of experience working with kids, after-school programs, summer camp, things like that. Right. And I found AmeriCorps Playworks and said this is the perfect combination. I can give back to the city that I'm from through play, but also serve my community in different ways. So
great. Corey?
I went to Temple, class of 2012, and I was an education major. So I did all of my student teaching and all of my practicum and things like that in the Philadelphia schools. So I actually had some experience working within the school district, but also at recess with the schools. So I moved home the year after college, and then my dad recommended that I actually look into AmeriCorps, and so I went onto the portal, and the first thing I discovered was Playworks, and I was like, this doesn't even sound like a real job. Like, this sounds like so much fun. And I applied, and it's like a really cool interview process, and I was like, this is definitely what I want to do. So I've been with Playworks for about 4 years now.
4 years? How many years have you been, Dave?
I'm on my 5th this year.
4 and 5 years.
Yep.
So when you first started the program, right now you're what, program directors?
Program managers.
Mm-hmm. Program managers. So how do you become a program manager?
So for the most part, program managers start as program coordinators or coaches. So we're the people on the ground running the program in an individual school for the entire year. And then it's basically just your regular interview process. You say you're interested in the position if one opens up, and then you interview and you get the job and you get the promotion, and then you get to oversee the people running the right. show on the ground floor. And you get to work in more schools with more kids.
Great. Dave?
Yeah, I mean, same process for the most part. I was a coach at a public school down in South Philly, Andrew Jackson Elementary, for 3 years. And, after a while, you just start to sort of master that craft, and it's time to challenge yourself. And like Corey said, what's really special about the program manager role is that we get to oversee multiple schools, see the differences neighborhood to neighborhood, public to charter, and sort of figure out, in a city, what are the trends, what's happening, and how can we affect this change?
Right. So when you started out, what was your favorite game to teach the kids?
My favorite game, I like teaching all variations of tag. It's a game that every single kid can play, and you don't need any sort of skills to play it. I think that's one challenge that a lot of the young people have, is that they're afraid to play because they're afraid that they're not going to be good enough at a game. And tag I consider like a great equalizer. Like, everyone can play it and have fun and get energized and move around and just enjoy their time with their friends.
So I only knew one way to play it, and you said there are many variations?
Oh, there are many variations of tag.
So share
yes.
a couple.
My personal favorite is called Watch Your Back Tag, where there is everyone's it, and you're running around and you're tagging people. If you get tagged, you take a knee, and then you're looking around for the other people who are running around, and if the person that tagged you gets tagged, you get to come back into the game. So you never get out, and you just get to keep playing.
Dave, what was your favorite game?
I'll have to say my favorite playground game is a classic, but it's Foursquare. So Foursquare is really fun. A lot of people also know it as King Ball. One thing that's really special about Playworks is that we have a lot of variations like Corey was talking about. Tag is a pretty old school game, but it's also something that a lot of schools are worried to play because kids are going to get hurt. And so it's our job at Playworks to come up with all these different creative variations to get as many kids playing at a time, not having kids get out in order to maximize their physical activity and their interaction with one another while still having fun in an old school game like tag.
Right.
So, but for me, it's Foursquare. I have a lot of fun doing that.
So when you think of education, most people think that school is a place to learn.
Yeah.
How does games help children grow?
I think that that's kind of our main goal, obviously, right? So a lot of times when people hear about Playworks, so they ask me, hey, what do you do? And I say, I'm a recess consultant. They kind of laugh, right?
I like that, yeah.
Yeah, that's a fun way to call it.
It's
but
like a sanitation engineer.
Exactly. So, they laugh and say, well, what does that mean? What do you mean you do recess? I don't get it, you know? But what schools sort of realize is when they have a Playworks coach come in or a consultant or a manager come in or get professional training from us, they realize that our games enable not only students but also the teachers, the staff members, the principals, and the parents to get involved and socially interact with each other. And a lot of recess schoolyards, if you were just to walk out without Playworks, there's a lot of pushing and shoving.
Right.
The kids who are really advanced at, let's say, basketball and football, they're going to dominate the games, right? Almost everybody you ask says, have you ever been picked last for a game? And a lot of people have experienced that, right? So we basically create this open, safe environment for everyone to play, and we make that one of our core values, right? That everyone can play, that it's inclusive. And you'll see this change in a school. When you first get there, teachers don't really take it so seriously.
Right.
And then you see the difference that are happening at recess. Kids are coming in excited, giving high fives, giving thumbs up, as opposed to coming into the principal's office with bumps and bruises and being upset.
So why is that important that everyone gets an opportunity to play?
So the way I see it, when I think of a day at school, I like to think of it as adults have a really hard time sitting in an office for an entire day.
Right.
And imagine being 20 years younger and having to sit through school, having someone tell you what to do all day.
Right.
That's really difficult. And so play is a really good way to get that energy out, that need to just be a kid. When kids are allowed to sort of do that and have fun with their friends and feel like they're included in a game, they're going to go back to class or back to the rest of their day feeling much more positive. They're going to go back with that energy out. They're going to be back and ready to focus. And if they're getting that opportunity to do it with their friends, they're going to build those relationships that they're going to need to help them with their schoolwork, or if they need group work in the classroom. And the teachers, if they come outside to play, get to build that rapport, and they're going to get to know their kids on a much more personal level. So play, I think, is a really powerful tool in schools.
Right. Dave, you talked about kids not going to the principal's office and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. Tell me how teaching kids how to play games help them with conflict resolution. Great
question. So conflict resolution is something that we really pride ourselves on as an organization. Our base level conflict resolution is something that we call Rochambeau. We tell the kids, play Rochambeau. And that is rock, paper, scissors. Almost everybody knows what rock, paper, scissors is.
Been around forever, right?
Yeah, so it's just our way of calling it it's the same thing. But we basically teach our students that instead of wasting their time at recess, since this is kind of their only break during the day, instead of wasting their time, instead of arguing, instead of getting in trouble and getting in fights to fight over who gets the hula hoop first, let's make it a game. Let's play Rochambeau. If you are victorious, great, I'm going to play with it first. But then not only do you get it the whole recess, but hey, we're going to share, we're going to interact.
Right.
And this is a way that we're a basic way we're teaching kids to interact with one another, solve their own problems. In the beginning of the school year, a lot of times, kind of just similar as we were talking before, when you say I do recess, you're like, oh, well, they just play rock, paper, scissors and solve their issues. People kind of laugh, but by the end of the year, you'll see a coach all the way across the schoolyard kind of being like, Rochambeau, remember to do this? And the kid's like, oh yeah, of course, why didn't we think about that? So our goal is to, after having coach there, having consulting, kids are able to solve their own issues, which saves a lot of time and energy for them and for the principals and staff.
So let's say school brings you in to help them out. Mm-hmm. What type of results can they expect?
They can expect to see a lot more physical activity. I mean, just logistically, we're not a substitute for physical education class, but we do offer part of our program is what we call class game times, where we're taking the individual classes outside and they're getting to play with the coach for 30 minutes a week. And then at recess, we are getting kids transitioned outside much more safely, much more consistently and concisely, and they're just able to get right to play. So it's not one of those, like, we're not taking stuff from the cafeteria and bringing it outside with us. We're just making it 2 separate times where kids just get to play and be themselves. They can expect lower incidences of bullying, lower incidences of going to the nurse's office, because we're taking those games that kids like to play. We're still letting them play them, like football and tag, but we're doing it safely. And so you can also expect to just see kids who are much more focused in school because they've gotten that opportunity to get the play, and it's been a positive experience for them.
And I think every teacher would like to have everyone focused. So
yes, we fill out a survey at the end of the year, and on average, teachers get about 10 hours or more back of teaching time because they're not having to put those fires out that are coming back in from recess. So those things have been put to rest by the coach who's outside. The kids line up and they come back in ready to learn.
Great. You're a nonprofit organization. How does someone help out if they're interested? How does someone, do you have take volunteers?
Oh, absolutely.
So how would someone go about volunteering?
We have school-based volunteers. We have to, run their clearances and things like that. But we have some other really fun ways to volunteer. Specifically, we run developmental sports leagues that are non-competitive. And so coming out and pitching the kickball or reffing a basketball game is a really fun way to volunteer.
That's true.
Certainly. And then, obviously giving back to nonprofits, like Corey said, you can be on the ground coming and helping out, and we really appreciate that. But we have several fundraisers coming up that people could come and be a part of. We have a poker tournament coming up in March we're really excited about, but and a corporate kickball event in the springtime. So
you talked about clearances. I know someone out there is wondering. Will you pay for someone to get their clearance, or do they have to do that themselves?
Unfortunately, a volunteer does have to get their own clearances.
No problem. They need to know that, right?
Yeah.
So
we will help. We will assist the process.
Right. What about donations?
So we've just launched our High Five campaign, which is sort of a ground level operation for all of the coaches and office members here at Playworks PA. It's kind of asking their friends, their family, their fellow teachers, hey, give me a high five, give me $5 just to help the Philly kids, right? That's a very basic way, but just if you were interested in reaching out more or wanting to volunteer more or give more of your time and money, you can contact us at Playworks PA or playworks.org.
Playworks.org? Great. So coming up next, we'll be talking with 2 members of the Playworks staff about what it's like working in Philadelphia schools. Stay tuned.
Hey, did you hear what happened to Derrick this weekend?
Yeah, I can't believe his friends just left them there. Did they not see how sick he was?
I guess they didn't want to get in trouble for like underage drinking, and like they probably thought they would get like arrested or something, but still.
Well, there is this thing called the Medical Amnesty Act.
I've never heard of that. What is that?
Well, basically, if your friend is drinking underage, you can help them out without getting in trouble if they need medical attention.
Oh, so it makes people more willing to help people who might have alcohol poisoning and not worry about getting in trouble.
Exactly, and it can save so many lives.
Yeah, definitely.
The Center for Disease Control reports that on average, alcohol is a factor in over 4,358 deaths in young people under 21. This number can be greatly reduced with responsibility, the Medical Amnesty Act, and the understanding that helping a friend is the most important thing.
We love LaSalle TV.
I love that new show, Flip.
I gotta keep up, so news you can use has to be my favorite.
I love LaSalle Sports, so Sportsline is my favorite TV show.
We love LaSalle TV.
I love that new show with the psychology department, Relationships 101.
I love Backstage Pass. It's my favorite show.
We love LaSalle TV.
Sports Talk Philadelphia.
Q&A, I love that show.
It's gotta be LaSalle TV News.
I love LaSalle TV.
3, 2, 1, action. You may think a guy would be producing this, but I can too. Anyone can find a cure.
Women are being downgraded for their physical ability, but you can be just as strong.
"20% of women are engineers, but it doesn't stop there.
I'm a tech girl. I'm a tech girl.
I am a tech girl.
I am a tech girl."
Hello, and welcome back to Future Leaders in Philadelphia. I'm your host, Derrick Sawyer. Today we're talking to staff members from Playworks, a nonprofit organization using after-school program, playgrounds, games to build social and emotional skills. Right now, please welcome two members of the Playworks staff, Priya John, and who is the site coordinator at 4 Philadelphia schools, and program coordinator, Kelly MVP Wilson. What's going on?
Hey.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
So you're both coaches, right?
Yeah.
So tell me how it came about that you became coaches.
Okay, you want to go?
Sure. Well, I would say I think Playworks found me.
Okay.
Personally, I've been in recreation, science, art. I've been doing a lot of stuff. Recently, for the past 4 summers, I've been working with a summer camp. So basically trying to get the kids to play safe and everything that I'm doing now in a more organized way. Now that I'm with Playworks, it makes more sense of my career path.
Got you. Priya?
So I'm actually a LaSalle University alum.
Nice.
So, at LaSalle, we
Welcome
value,
back.
thank you. We value service.
Yes.
So just coming out, I graduated 2014.
That's that
and
Jesuit.
I just wanted
Jesuit
to.
principles, right?
Yeah. I just want to continue doing service. I didn't want to go straight into the classroom just yet. I did early elementary special ed. And I found a AmeriCorps position. I did 2 years as a coach. And I'm consultant now, and
Nice.
loving it.
So what is the daily life of a coach like? So tell everyone what it's like to go through your day or your routine.
So for me, I'm at 4 schools, each school 1 week at a time, just training the staff, training the climate team, how to improve school climate. How can we add more play? How can we add more conflict resolution skills into daily routine, into school culture in itself. So I just, help out the recess coaches at the schools just to improve their program.
So when you went to LaSalle, did you think this is what you would be doing with your degree?
No, I did not,
No.
but it's a journey.
Right.
And what they do say, LaSalle explorers are never lost, so I'm here.
You're just exploring, right?
Yeah.
So Kelly, tell us about your day-to-day activities. What's a day like for you as a coach?
As a coach, get to school pretty early so I can get my brain ready, plan out what I want to do. As Corey mentioned earlier, we do class game times. Right before that, I check in with, a couple kids who I feel like may have had a bad day yesterday, or the teacher asks me like, hey, can you come in, maybe see if this kid would like to help you, just to know that that'll get their day started on a positive note. And then run CGT, then I run recess, and then I get a break. I get the rest, check in on people, and then go on about the after-school program.
So is this what you plan to do when you were going to school or when you're growing up?
No, I went to undergrad at Penn State for science,
Right.
life science, or biology and chemistry. I thought I was going to be a lab technician somewhere with a white coat. And then with being a RA, a resident assistant, I got into education.
Right.
So I went to pursue a graduate degree in higher education. And then I just ended up back with the youth. So I'm working in the summer.
So what made you get involved in Playworks then? It just kind of...
It kind of made sense. At this point in time, I'm young, I'm active, I'm on my feet, and I'm very relatable to the students that we serve.
Same, I did a lot of service. I was actually involved with the LOC program here, and that just made me really appreciate being a Philadelphian. I loved my city, I loved serving the students here, and I want to continue that even out of LaSalle. and just building those relationships, it's something that you can never get anywhere else. So that's where I continue to even stay with Playworks, my 3rd year doing Playworks, and I just value those relationships with those kids.
So what are your favorite games to teach the kids?
I love anything that's building team building, because a lot of times in our school communities, there's a lack of inclusion. You know, girls versus boys, girls can't play. So just having games that empower girls to play, empowering a whole class to feel like this is my class family. You know, let's work together, we're here to learn. And just building that positive school climate through those team building games, definitely my favorite.
So what impact do you see that having on those children in the future?
Definitely being able to work with their coworkers. You know, a lot of times you don't get along with people you work with. It's not about, you don't have to like those people, but just respecting each other, knowing how to communicate if you're upset about something, knowing how to voice your opinions in a respectable way. So definitely seeing that in the classroom and seeing the teachers even play. They love the team building games too. When they play and they see that their teachers are involved too, that really builds that
It
skill
builds
up.
trust with the teachers also. Kelly?
Definitely retweet what Praya just said. Definitely team building games, and also earlier tag games. Tag games are my big favorite because everyone gets to play. You don't have to really worry about who is being too fast or they did this, they did that. My favorite game is hula hoop tag. So you use the hula hoop and hula hoops on the ground and you tag their feet. Once you get tagged, you do 5 jumping jacks and you just get right back into the game. So you just keep playing, you're still being active, you're still moving, and you get to play.
What's your favorite story to share that you had on the playground?
Favorite story? I would say recently a lot of like 2nd grade girls have been coming up like, they won't let me play basketball or they won't let me play football. And I'm like, really? Come on, let's go. So we go over there and I'm on their team and we start playing, and they're definitely more and more comfortable with playing those sports that they thought they couldn't play.
Right. What's your favorite story?
So I'm working with a lot of adults lately. So just seeing, I'm thinking I'm one of my recess coaches now, like really embodying the Playworks mission and really taking on Playworks as their own. And we have something called Junior Coach Leadership Program, where there's peer leaders helping younger students how to play games. So like mini coaches. And this recess coach really feels like these are my kids. This is my team. And she has like morning meetings with them about how they're doing outside, you know, buys them breakfast, just to build that community of caring adults in the school, especially in neighborhoods that, you know, their families might not have that consistent adult. You know, she became that consistent adult for those kids. And they really look up to her, and I love seeing that, encouraging other people to do that on their own.
That's very important, especially in this day and age of not having mentors and things of that nature. So, since you've been with Playworks, you've been there for a couple of years, what changes have you seen occur?
So, just like every year, you know, you're building your experience, and just you really embody the mission into your own life. Like I see myself doing Rochambeau at home, and it's funny because just the, you know, the values of respect, inclusion, healthy community, healthy play, it embodies your life, and you start seeing everything around you with those missions. I would just say just get stronger as the years go on. So definitely.
So how did it go from rock, paper, scissors to Rochambeau?
Well, personally, we don't like the idea, you know, at the end of rock, paper, scissors, they say shoot.
Gotcha.
And so just to keep the shoot and the whole gun thing out, you just Rochambeau, let it go.
Gotcha.
And I believe that's what they do in California. They don't do rock, paper, scissors. They do Rochambeau.
So you from California?
No, we started off in California.
Okay, all right. So tell us what changes you've seen.
Being a first-year coach, just getting the remarks and the motivating of the teachers walking through the schoolyard saying, Coach Kelly, we really appreciate you. We love what you're doing. We see how everyone's breaking up here, giving me high fives literally through the campaign and through every day, and just walking around the school. They really enjoy me.
Prayer, you have 4 schools, right?
Yes.
What's the differences between those 4 schools? Or are they similar, different?
So I have 4 schools in North Philly. 2 of the schools have had Playworks for a long time now. So their kids are used to it. Some of them start off in kindergarten. Some of them bleed Rochambeau, let it go. It's funny because the newer schools, look at me like, who is this hyper lady coming to the school with so much energy, especially since, some of them, they're expected to stay still in class. They don't know how to like show their emotions.
Right.
So then I'm coming in with this new program that, just be yourself, play, enjoy, be a kid. And they really look forward to that time, and they really value that time. So there's definitely that difference between schools that never had Playworks before versus schools that had it before. They're used to it, now they're ready to build like healthy competition, things like that. So there's baby steps and different levels depending on the school.
Right. Kelly, how long have you been at your school?
Since September.
So you just started this
Yep.
year? So have you seen any difference since you began?
Yeah, definitely. Before, the kids, they would just bust out the door for recess. Like, everyone would just come out, no real structure, and they would just start running around. Then, like, the first day they see me, and I'm like, go to your lines, come on, time to line up, let's line up. And they're like, we never had to do this before. I don't understand why we got to do this. I'm like, yo, I got all these cool games I want to teach you. If you never played this before, everyone's going to get a chance to play. I have this going on, and they get we get to choose, we get to be here. We never got to do this. All they told us to do was walk around, and we never had no one really to watch over us. Or they told me that sometimes they would stay in because recess was just too crazy. But now that they like to come outside.
So if you had to do this all over again, or if you had to, let's say you were talking to someone that was interested in coming on the team, what would you tell them to convince them this is the right choice to make?
Right.
So I'm really big on, bringing volunteers in. So I definitely tell them, it's a great way to give back to the community. Usually when you go in as an AmeriCorps member, you get to pay student loans back,
Nice.
but you're doing something that you're having fun with. So you're having fun and you get to, pay back loans. And it's a great way to network. You get to meet so many people who are really passionate about what you're doing. And it's hard. Sometimes, you go into places where, they're there just for the paycheck. But you're here with people that love, working with kids, love doing what they're doing. So that definitely, that buys people in.
Great. Well, I want to thank you both for coming in. And I look forward to learning more about Playworks.
Definitely come out and volunteer at one of our schools.
Oh, I can do that. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have today. I'd like to thank all of our guests from Playworks for being here. If you would like to find out more about their organization, visit playworks.org. I'm your host, Derrick Sawyer, and thanks for watching Future Leaders in Philadelphia, where we believe in investing in our youth is investing in our future.